Welcome back to the Real Estate 401k Show. I'm your host, Mike Weinstein, alongside Ryan Gerdes. Justin is still on holiday. We are coming up at the end of the year, and we want to make sure and wish you, and I know it's after Christmas, but Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we wish you and your family an incredibly safe New Year's. So 2025, we kind of recapped 2025 a couple weeks ago.
Sure.
Now I want to talk about 2026. What are you expecting to see as an investor? I want you to speak to the novice investor, the first-time investor, as well as the savvy investor.
Okay. So the novice investor, I personally don't see rates doing much this year. I know that there's a ton of talk. There's a bunch of chatter online about a massive meltdown, and then you have optimists saying the exact opposite. The truth is probably going to be somewhere right in the middle. You're going to have some parts of the states that are going to struggle. I think here locally in Maricopa County, I think that new home builders are going to get even more bullish on their incentives. I think that they suffered a lot of loss this year because they mismanaged, or they didn't quite put a lot of systems in place. And so I do think that it's going to kind of be a little bit of an echo for novice or first-time home buyers or first-time investors to not avoid buying a new home, especially if you don't have the experience in rehabbing or remodeling or repairing, because if you want to buy an older home, that they just cause more problems. That's just what they do. So those are safe. Those are kind of like the blue chips, and stocks. Those are the Disney. Those are the Amazons. Those are, the Google type of investments to make. For our ones that are looking to be a little bit more creative, the ones that are looking for higher risk, high reward, but maybe somewhere right in the middle, I still think that there's going to be a play on Airbnb. I think Airbnbs are going to start coming back a little bit
Really?
more. I think that a lot of people fell asleep at the wheel. I think a lot of people are going to start liquidating some of their Airbnbs because they mismanaged them. I think that they had these rose-colored eyes on, where they thought that they could just go over there, buy a house, and everyone would just want to pay them $1,000 a night, and they wouldn't have to do shit about it. And now they get slapped in the face with reality. So I think that there's going to be a play with some of those there, especially that and midterm rentals. For our more aggressive ones, we saw a lot of the flipping die down, because a lot of flippers rely on appreciation in order to make their investment sound. But they're buying on hopes and dreams, and then they'd get hurt. And that's because they threw appreciation into the calculations on what they should be buying at. And I think that if you are more bullish on how you do your acquisitions, and you're more realistic on what it's going to cost to rehab, then you're going to be able to skirt out a lot of the competition, especially if you're being transparent. I think that's probably one of the biggest problems with the more aggressive investor when it comes to flipping. They just aren't that transparent. Like I'm not ranking on anyone, but what I am saying is that a lot of these flippers go in there and they say, "Oh, no costs, and I'll buy it as is," and they know what they're doing. They're giving you those buzzwords or those buzz slogans that make a seller raise their hand and say, "Okay, yeah, I want to transact with you," and then what do? They come back and then they renegotiate it. I think that if you're a flipper, you need to walk in and say, "Hey, look, I'm willing to buy it at X price, but I am going to get an inspection. And if the AC is shot, then I'm going to come after you on that, because that's going to affect my bottom line. And I'm running a business here, and let's just call a spade, And that's how we've seen a ton of success, because we've been transparent and honest with the people that we've bought our flips from.
Yeah.
And they understand that we're doing it to make a profit, and I'm fully transparent of what those profit expectations are up front. And if they're not cool with it, then that's fine. Let's explore other options. I'll even find another flipper that's willing to take a less profit margin than me and help out with that. But I think that if you've ever flipped before, or if you decided to pack up your tents because you're not seeing the margins that you saw before, the people that needed you then need you more now than ever. And if you are one of those that has the moral fiber and the integrity to go over there and say, hey, look, I'm going to make $50,000 off of this flip. I'm not, and that's my expectation out of it. And I have to chase numbers, not feelings. Then you're going to see some wins. And that's not taking advantage of people. That's not hurting people. That's saying, hey, look, I understand you might be a real estate owner and you're in a situation, you don't have the resources or the bandwidth in order to get the home up to snuff, in order to get your ROI. I'm willing to do that, but you are going to take a haircut. The other thing that I'm going to say, before I hand the mic back over to you, Mike, is get ready for it to be an all or nothing transaction. What I mean by that is we've already seen the writing on the wall. If you have a home that's 50% turnkey, 70% turnkey, get ready to sell it at a 0% turnkey rate. So if it's worth $300 when it needs full rehab, and it's worth $500 if it's fully turnkey and ready to go, you're going to sell it for $300. You're probably not going to sell it for much more than that, even if it's 60 or 70% there. You need to get it 100% there. If people want problems, then they're going to go and buy the home with all the problems. If they don't want problems and they're willing to pay for it, they're going to buy the home that's ready to go. Yeah. This is not 2020 anymore, where they're going to walk in there and say, we'll get around to the flooring later. We'll get around to that kitchen later. Let's go. It's probably worth $400. They have too many options. Be the top option, or be content knowing that you're the bottom option. And that's where you're going to find success in selling your real estate.
All right. If you are interested in having a discussion about real estate, investing in real estate, and building wealth in real estate, go ahead and text the numbers 2026 to 623-AZ-RECON. That's 2026 to 623-AZ-RECON. So I agree with you. I don't think we're going to see a major shift in rates. I do think they're going to come down, though. I think we're going to see high fives at some point this year.
With no buy down?
Yeah.
That's gonna be par?
Yeah, I think so. We're close.
Okay.
But could be wrong.
I hope so.
I actually don't. I like the high rate.
I like the I mean, I'm gonna sound like an asshole if I say what I really think, but I'll let you finish.
But I think the opportunity is typically when a listener texts into the show and we sit down with them and they're thinking about selling their home and we're going through all the numbers. We always like to have that discussion of, have you considered not selling? Go buy something and turn this into an income-producing property and start building your real estate wealth that way. I think for 2026, the opportunity is for people who own a home and owned a home for several years to be intentional about it, to literally make that the strategy. I'm gonna talk to Mike and Ryan. We're gonna talk about new builds. I'm gonna go get me and my family a new build. Gonna get probably a killer interest rate, because the builders' interest rates are a lot lower than other mortgage companies and outfits, and then turn their existing home into a rental property. We always say when people are thinking about selling their home, I'm saying I would make this my 2026 strategy. If I'm wanting to build wealth in real estate, I think we've got a great, 2026 is still, I think, for at least the first half, going to give us the opportunity to leverage seller concessions and buy down rates. But hey, go get a new build. Go get a brand new house. You might be a little bit further of a drive.
I agree with you on that.
And then turn your house into a rental property, and now you're on your way. Mm-hmm. So that's my message for people in 2026. If you own a home and you've got especially if you've got a 2 and 3 in front of that mortgage.
Oh, don't do anything with it.
Don't ever do anything with it. Turn it into a rental. But when you do that, because I've given the strategy, people can get themselves into a lot of trouble if they just go do it. You really have to understand the numbers. You have to understand how, we have our 5-year pro forma, where we take a look at the data, we take a look at the neighborhood, and we can project how your home is going to perform over the next 5 years as a rental property. You got to understand not only the rental comps, but really the rental market right now. It's soft right now. So there's a lot of things that you got to take into effect. And then you got to have somebody who can go in with you to a builder and negotiate. And it's such a foreign concept for a lot of agents. Those inventory homes, that price, to me, is just a suggestion. There's still a lot of negotiating that you can do with the builder.
Right. So here's the thing that I was going to say that I think people are going to think I'm going to sound like an asshole on. The people that over-leveraged the hell out of everything, that got into all this credit card debt because they got so used to either the government paying for their shit during COVID, or they just saw a money grab there, so they just decided to go nuts with it, or were just, asleep at the wheel. You're going to have a tough year. And you're probably going to have a tough 2 years. And I honestly, I don't feel bad. I am going to exploit that. We are going to we are going to pick up those types of properties for I'm not going to say pennies on the dollars, but definitely dimes on the dollar. And we are going to turn it into something beautiful. And we are going to be extremely responsible investors, and we are going to help the fabric of that neighborhood improve in value because of the type of quality of the work that we are going to be doing and have already done on a number of our flips. And with that being said, I feel like this is the perfect market, the perfect interest rate, the perfect type of culture for us to capitalize on that. And then at that point, I don't really care if these prophecies come true, if the market crashes, this and that, because I know it's going to come back.
And we're ready.
Yeah. And then if the market does crash, guess what we're going to do? We're going to do what we're doing right now, but probably 10 or 20 times more. And probably pick up more properties that are going to be on the rental market. Because what happens if the market crashes, like all that shit that's been pushed onto your algorithms on your social media, if that's the type of stuff that you're looking up, then that's the type of stuff that's being pushed to you, then that's what you end up believing, right? You're looking for facts that back up what your belief system is.
Oh my gosh, dude! That's a whole episode of just every time I see an article or something pop up about how bad the market is and where it's going and so forth, I always consider the source. Is it some writer from the New York Times or that doesn't know anything about real estate? They're just regurgitating.
Or maybe they do. I mean, at the end of the day, nobody knows shit. You know, like something could happen tomorrow and it's going to completely change how banks are going to behave, or how the Fed's going to behave, or how the government's going to behave, or how consumers are going to behave. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know shit. Nobody knows shit. What we know is what's happening right now, right? We know what happened yesterday, but we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And so those people that are pawning their information off as fact about what's going to happen tomorrow, we're going to exploit that. Don't be that. Don't do that. You know, like work with the facts that you have in front of you. And if you want to, if you decide to put your head in the sand about what the reality is, then I don't really feel too bad for you.
All right, the number is 2026. Go ahead and text the number 2026 to 623-AZ-RECON. That's 2026 to 623-AZ-RECON. And we invite you to, and we welcome to have a conversation with you about your real estate goals. All right, I want to wrap up kind of as we now getting into 2026. We don't do a lot about this. We know we're badasses, and we know that people should hire us because we know what we're doing. But I'm going to give you the opportunity to truly make the case. I think what makes us unique, and why, and it doesn't matter whether you are a first-time home buyer, a novice investor, a savvy investor. How old were you when you bought your first home?
22.
22. So I was 27, 28, somewhere right around there. So we've been buying homes for a long time. We are investors. We are flippers. We
Rentals,
negotiate short sales. We have rentals. I think it doesn't matter where you're at in your real estate journey. We're the guys that you want to. We're the guys that you want, because we know how to assess properties. We know how to take a look at values. We know how to negotiate, because we're doing it for ourselves on a daily basis.
Yeah, and we don't sign off on anything that we can't get behind. And when you have that much reps and sets, that much experience, and that much exposure to those types of skills, then I mean, there's really no argument. Are there people better than us? No. But are there people as good? Probably. I'm not. There's always somebody. There's always someone better, right? I don't live in a fantasy world, but what makes us unique. You know what? It drives me crazy. I see all these people out there. I want to get in this business so I can help people. And then you're like, okay, well then go work for UNICEF, right? And they're like, go do it for zero commission, do it for zero profits. And they're like, well, wait a minute, that's not what I meant. Well, then what the fuck did you mean? You know what I mean? Like we are running a business, but we are putting these strategies that we put in our own business into your business, because we don't win unless you win, right? And so we need to make sure that you guys are accomplishing your financial goals before we accomplish ours. But we all got to win, or else the machine doesn't work, right? And so when somebody starts feeding you that line of crap, then I just say run. I mean, I don't care if it's your own mother. Like if that's what they're trying to, if that's the line of crap that they're trying to sell you, then I mean, that's on you if you want to buy it.
All right. Well, if you'd like the opportunity to take advantage of a free consultation with us in regards to real estate wealth building strategies, go ahead and text the number 2026 to 623 AZ Recon. That's 2026 to 623 AZ Recon. I want to wish all of our audience and you, Ryan, a happy New Year. Looking forward to kicking ass in 2026,
yeah,
and
buddy.
the ride's been amazing.
Yeah, even more to come. Happy New Year, buddy.
Same to you.